Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Phoenix Wisdom Podcast. I am your host, Janet Sandberg. I am a soul interpreter, Reiki master teacher, intuitive life coach, and just person who knows that things can get better. Today, we are talking to Stu Morris, and he's going to share a lot of really cool stuff with us. And I'm very excited to hear experience and perspective and all the stuff that he has learned in his lifetime. So, Stu, welcome.
Well, thanks very much, Janet. It's a pleasure to be here. Appreciate you having me on.
Of course, of course. Why don't you just start by introducing yourself a little bit? Tell us who you are and business, personal, whatever, doesn't matter.
Right on.
Put you on the spot.
Well, there you go. Janet, have you ever walked into a room and forgot what you came in for?
All the time.
That's what I do. I teach and train on neuroplasticity to improve memory, expand your cognitive your cognitive health span. We call it. It's kind of lifespan is kind of how long you live. Your health span is how long you're healthy while you live. So improving your cognitive health span is a big focus of ours. And then just to strengthen your cognitive agility, your mental agility. So staying sharp, decision making, those kind of things. That really helps as far as just your overall mental state. Your emotions are tied in very closely with your neuroplastic and how neuroplastic your brain is and how well it can adapt. And so if you feel like there's no other way out, sometimes you can make some poor decisions. But if you feel like, tomorrow could be a better day, or I have better decision-making skills, or I'm smarter, that's me. I'm that guy that makes you smarter. Welcome.
Amazing. I love it. And
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So my mom had dementia, and she was quite young, in her 70s. And so, yeah, anything that anybody can do to keep those synapses firing is amazing. Anyways, we can get into that. But we are here to talk about you.
I didn't do it.
Let us go back in time to that point where you were really struggling and thinking that, life really sucked and maybe you didn't want to live it anymore. Well, tell us about that. What was going on?
Yeah. Well, my Nana had dementia also. So when I was little, my Nana came from London and moved in with us in the United States, moved in to our house. And my mom took me by the hand and said, Stu, I need you to take care of Nana. Now I was 5 years old. So I thought that was my job. When in reality, my Nana was my babysitter. She was so much more than that. She was urbane and sophisticated. She was a charge nurse, the nurse manager on a hospital ship during World War II. Wow. And she trained other nurses. And so she traveled the world 9 times. She was urbane and sophisticated and well-read. She could read, write, and speak like 4 languages. She had a real just penchant for treating injured people, training nurses, and had a real global perspective and a real empathy for different cultures, and wasn't kind of for her time in the 40s, she was pretty different because, people were very prejudiced and things like that. It was just normal to be. And she came to the US and she was just my best friend. We'd go on these long walks and she'd talk for hours, and she'd talk about your attitude, and she'd talk about how you think and what thinking is. And she was really concerned with that in the States, we weren't being taught how to think, how to ask yourself good, empowering, open-ended questions, and then pausing and waiting for the answer and meditating on that. And so for hours every day, a little kid, I grew up in a little farm town, 800 people. We're just right. I live here right on the Pacific coast of California. It's just an agricultural community. I'm Stu from El Cajonal. I'm not nothing real super special here. But Nana had a way of she was a trainer. She was a nurse trainer, and she just trained us how to use our brains and how to ask good questions and how to have a positive attitude and all these things that now I've learned a lot, tremendous about neuroscience and neurobiology and neurophysiology and how to stay neuroplastic or neuroplasticity. And a lot of that, Nana was just talking, kind of everything that we think is a breakthrough now, Nana was talking about when I was, 5 and 10 years old. At 10, when I was 10 years old, my dad passed away,
Oh,
and we were broke. We were super just poor and not a lot of resources. And that same summer, it was about 3 weeks after my 10th birthday in the summertime. And that same summer, Nana just got lost. She, one day after church, we couldn't find her. The entire congregation looked for over an hour, and I found her in the back of the wrong person's car.
oh my
And
gosh.
she was diagnosed with dementia. And for the next 6 months or so, I took care of her. I, washed beds and bathed her and fed her. And
That's a
she
big ask for a
was
kid.
just super
Wow.
smart. Yeah, it was a lot to do, but growing up on a farm, you worked right off the bat. So
Yeah.
working, no big deal. Dawn dusk, dawn dusk. That's how it goes. But that watching her just become dismantled from dementia kind of put some in me. Now I was 10 years old. I didn't know, oh, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, kind of a thing. But as I grow older now, I've owned dementia and memory care facilities for the last 25 years. I've worked in the emergency department for over 22 years. Kind of find the ways to put myself in the middle of chaos and help people through oftentimes, some of the most difficult issues and problems and challenges to overcome that they'll ever face in their life, right up to
Mhm.
death, right? In my personal life, it kind of all hit me about the same time. I got very sick. I had a 400-pound patient fall on me and herniated a disc. I couldn't feel my feet. I wasn't
Oh
sure if I could go
gosh.
back to treating patients. I couldn't walk for 44 days. I was laid on a yoga mat. Right after that time, was served with divorce papers. My general manager of my care homes wanted to go be with his family. He just had a grandchild and he wanted to hang out with them. So he retired after being with me for 15 years. I lost him. I got served with divorce papers. And the state came in and said, "Oh, your neighbors said you're beating up your people," or something like that. It was
What?
all non-founded, but it was like the perfect storm. It wasn't just one thing, but kind of this wave after wave of things hit me.
The
And my general
dog
manager,
pile.
Dennis, who's just my dearest friend, he came back and said, let me take care of some things for you, and found me on the floor, kind of curled up in the fetal position. And that guy fed me chicken broth by spoon and got me back to health and said, there's lots of life to live yet. And I never really thought about committing suicide, but I just thought there was nothing more to live for, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And so it kind of came crumbling down around me. But from that, similar to the Phoenix, you you from that, you don't go through that, and well, I guess you can go through that and just be the same. But for me, and I guess
Mhm.
the way Nana trained us up there, I learned from it and was able to kind of change my focus. So after 22 years, I finished up in the emergency department. I still have my memory care facilities going, but here for the last number of years, we've just been writing books on how to bounce back better and how to use neuroplasticity and neuroscience to change your brain, change the way you think and how you feel and how you act and the outcomes that you get. And looking back now, I don't think I'd be doing this, which is super fulfilling. And it's like what I've always wanted to do with my life. But I wouldn't have done that if I didn't find myself curled up in the fetal position on the hardwood floor with Dennis feeding me chicken broth, kind of a thing. So you can look back at the darkest moments of your life and really see them as a turning point or the
Mhm.
genesis or the moving off part to really helping a lot of other people, really making an impact and being fulfilled with what you're doing with your life. So I I didn't like it. I'm not quite so sure I would change it though. I like the outcome
Right.
from it, but it was about it was a little over a year there. I just didn't move much, but
It
that
just
was a great learning time for me. And it's amazing how your brain can just bounce back. Your brain is just as plastic as you want it. That's just
Mhm.
some real breakthroughs there. So that's my deal.
So a lot of times, when we're in that sort of rock bottom place where we're curled up on the floor in the fetal position and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better and you just kind of lose that hopelessness, and then you have those thoughts that just keep like on repeat, just keep telling you, we're things are never going to get better, it's going to be like this forever, which is
Yeah.
like the opposite of neuroplasticity. I don't know what the word for that is, but how do you go from that to, changing the way that you think, like stopping those thoughts on repeat? How do you do that?
Well, that's a great question. I've been asked thousands of questions about neuroplasticity, but that's a good one. So what I would say is just the brain's natural ability. This is what we always teach is your brain has this natural ability. It's incredible. You didn't even know you had it. You were born with it, and it shaped your values. Now, when you were 6 months old, you didn't even know your place in the universe. You didn't have a consciousness about who you are, that you were right, even alive so much, maybe, or maybe you're a month old and didn't know that. Kind of for sure, we could say that. But your brain still started creating a hierarchy of values. What's important to you? So you didn't say, "Oh, I love my mom" when you were a month old. You said nutrition, sustenance, warmth, safety. Those things, I haven't linked them to mom yet, but I know when I'm over there with her that these are the outcomes of that. And so that be with mom, right, became very
Mhm.
high on your values list. And so immediately, before you even knew your place in the world, you started creating a hierarchy of values. What you value, what's important to you, right? And I can tell you what's important to you. I can tell you right now, what's important to you is what you spend your time, energy, and money on. Now you may say, "Oh, I speak to keynote speaks and corporate leaders, and I do maybe training sessions or workshops with companies and things like that." And everybody like, "What's important to you?" "Oh, my family. Oh, my job. Or oh, my right, this kind of stuff."
Mhm.
Never, no one's ever said, "Oh, my car." But they'll spend $200,000 on a car, right? And not
Mhm.
$20 on a new book or something like that
Right.
to learn how to become better. So their value isn't in learning. They'll say, "Oh, learning," but not really. It's a car, right? And I'm not saying, "Hey, get a $200,000 car. Go get three of them." I'm all for it. I'm just saying what you spend your time, effort, and energy and money on is what you value. Your brain naturally takes those values and what you value, what's important to you, you start thinking about. What you're thinking about is that brain activity. And when you start thinking about something, your brain naturally wants to create a narrative. The brain likes stories. From centuries and centuries. We wrote stories on the side of a cave or something like that because we can tell a story and our brain naturally just gleans onto that. So your brain's
Mhm.
a narrative machine, and you take those values, and because your brain wants to build a story out of it, you take those values and you start thinking, and because your brain wants to build a story out of it, what you think is what creates the certainty in you to have a belief.
Yep.
There we go. So as soon as you're certain about something, you believe in it. Now, until you believe in something, you're not going to take action on it. If you're not sure that chair is going to hold you, you're not going to sit down, or you're going to check it out real slowly or something like that, right? Make sure. But once you know that chair will hold you, man, you dive across the room and pile into your favorite chair, right? It's everybody loves their favorite chair. But until you believe it, you're not going to take action on it.
Right.
Okay. And that's a lot of times where people have this kind of cognitive dissonance where they really want to do this, but they don't really think they can do it, and they're afraid and all sorts of stuff. So we can overcome fear and eliminate failure. That's no problem. We do that. I do that every day, 10 times a day with people. So that's an easy one. But you don't know to do that until you kind of learn that your values have, built your beliefs. And then once you believe something, you take action. Now you can do something because you can take action. Nana, as you say, you're not a tree. She had this brilliant British accent. You're not a tree. You don't have to live by the river. Just move, right? You're not
Yeah.
stuck there. You can do whatever you want to do. You can take action. You have power. And so the actions we take, two ways. I kind of gave the answer before the question there, but there's two ways that you can build habits. Sarah, this is easy. This makes more sense. The two ways you build habits are highly emotional states, right? A car accident, you can get so scared you never go out. So in the emergency department, I treated two different patients. Both were rape victims. Okay.
Okay.
One, I work in emergency, right? So I don't follow patients. I see how they go. But the
Yeah.
psychologist comes down to the ER all the time, and we catch up, right? So we're in the lounge, and I was asking her about this patient, and she said, well, one of them went home and crawled into the basement of her mother's house and is afraid to come out into the world.
Mm.
The other one said, no way, no how is this ever going to happen to someone else without someone be able to make a difference in it. And she went out and wrote books and did speeches. The same thing happened to both people,
Yep.
but their belief system about it was completely different. The actions they took on it were completely different. And because it was such a highly charged emotional state, they were habits immediately. So your habits are formed through repetitive action, and thank God for them. I mean, you don't need to build habits. You don't need to, I got to overcome this habit and I got to have good habits. And you've been building habits since you were in utero, right? Your brain does things that are automatic, and they can just put that in the back and just do that automatically. Right. So thank God you don't have to relearn how to use a doorknob every time you walk up to a door. You're like, how does this work again? Or retie your shoe. I have to learn to tie my shoe. You wouldn't be able to drive a car. Because remember the first time driving a car, it was so hard. And so our habits save our lives. They absolutely save our lives. And so thank God for habits. But bad habits are just as easy to get as good habits, but they're automatic. So what we teach is how to use your natural neurology to create empowering habits, which is the end part of that, because the sum of your habits is your destiny. Wherever you're at in life right now, you are there because of the habits you have and the choices you've made. And if you want to have a real impactful legacy, which is the end of your destiny, then you can reshape your habits and reshape how you think and all that kind of stuff. So what happened is I found myself laying on the floor, and I was thinking, I wasn't thinking I want to end it all, but I was thinking, I just don't want to get up. Outside there is pain, and this isn't super comfortable on the hardwood floor, but it's better than out there, kind of a thing. And so I didn't have it really kind of put all into place the way I can explain it now, but I knew what I knew from my Nana. And I thought, okay, what would Nana do, right? And so she would say, you're not a tree, get up, you want to change, do something differently. And you can change those habits and you can do those things that Nana taught us, and you can live the life you want to live and have the fulfillment you want to have and make an impact that you want to make naturally, easily. Stop fighting your habits. I'm telling you, stop fighting your habits. Use your own neurology to build empowering habits, make great choices, and write your outcome now in advance. That was a little kind of a long way around to answer that question. I'm not quite sure how well I did, but that's
sort
that's
of. But
how I got.
So what you're saying is, like, don't even pay attention to like the quote unquote bad habits. Just build new habits, build the good ones, and the old bad ones will sort of drop away, and we don't even have to worry about that.
Yeah. Kind of. I mean, I think that's fairly close. I wouldn't maybe say don't pay attention to them or ignore them, because they're habits.
Sure.
And they work in the background, and they'll, you
have to catch yourself.
And you have a habit of just like waking up and saying, I need a beer. I mean, that's a bad habit. But you think, okay, well, that's not a habit. That's just something you want to do. It's not. If you have a beer every morning for 60 days, you'll just wake up and naturally get a beer. I wake up and grab my toothbrush, or I wake up and I don't think about it, right?
Yeah.
And so you can change those habits. The nice thing about your brain is, and I have no evidence for this at all, but I think as much as 80% of changing what you want to change is just realizing what it is and that you can change about it. Like we have found, and there's a fair amount of evidence that as people get older, they believe, well, I'm older now and I just walk into a room and I forgot what I came in for. And that's
just
normal,
how it
right?
is.
And that belief system right there, that's a habitual belief system. And I got to tell you, you got to break that one, because we are finding out all the time, is the brain as plastic, is the brain as neuroplasticity, as rubbery and as flexible as it was when you were a kid? No, it's not, right? And thank God, because you'd be autistic by the time you were 30 or something like that, right? There's proteins that build around your brain, your neurons, that slow that process down at about puberty, or for guys, it's probably about 25. For ladies, it's probably about 16, because you guys are so much smarter than us. I was raised by a single mom in a girls' dorm, so I know girls are smarter than boys. I know that. Yeah, just roll with that. Just don't fight it. But you don't really want to maybe ignore those bad habits, but there's so much you can do for them, and just confronting them is half the battle. And believing that you can change it. Because some people think, oh gosh, it's a habit now. It's so hard. It's not. It wasn't hard to make the habit. It's not hard to make a new habit that will overpower it or just dismantle the old habit. It's not rocket science. It's neuroscience. So you can do it. And there's the beauty of it is the neuroplasticity tells us that you can take physical action to change your brain, to change your neurology, right? So
Ooh,
so we know now that your psychology follows your physiology. What you do with your body affects how you feel,
right.
right?
Oh, so this is like, if you force yourself to smile, you'll feel better.
That's a
Like
great
that
study.
that type of thing?
Pardon me, that study was done in Europe. I want to say Denmark, but it was like a 7-year study, thousands of participants, and they took clinically diagnosed depressed people outside into the sun, looking up, palms facing up, big goofy smiles on their face, and they physically couldn't feel depressed when they mentally couldn't feel depressed when they physically put themselves in a happy physiological state, right?
Right.
And that's a breakthrough. That's a huge breakthrough. And so you nailed it right there, Janet. You can change how you feel by changing what you're doing with your body.
So cool.
It's
What?
cool. Isn't that cool? I know. I'm with you. You can meet anybody on the street, and if they want to change their life, you can change. You can help them change. Or if they don't want to
That's the
change, you can
key.
make it better. Or you can do whatever.
You have to want to, right? You have to get to
Until
that
you
point. And
realize that,
normally
yeah.
that's that hitting rock bottom. That's when we're curled up on the floor. We're like,
Right.
either we stay like this, and sometimes it's more of a have to than a want to. I know I can't stay like this. I know I can't feel like this forever. So I
Right.
have to do something, which have to and want is sometimes the same thing.
Yeah, you better to. Yeah,
Yes.
it
So
sure is. And until we get to that point where we know something can change and I can change it and I
yeah,
have to change it, then a lot of times it's nice not to change. I mean, it's just easier. It's just
for
really
sure.
cool.
It's so much more
Yeah.
comfortable to just stay in our little bubble and not have to change.
Yep. That's the habits you
Sometimes
built around it.
that bubble bursts, whether we want it to or not, and we gotta, do make some changes. So what did you do? So when you're on the floor and you're in pain. How did
Yeah.
you I mean, obviously you're a physician, so you probably knew some stuff that regular people don't about how to feel better. But what did you do to get past that pain that was, obviously came from something. It wasn't just, there was a specific incident, let's say, that caused
Yeah.
the pain. So was it just time, or were you also doing other stuff to feel better and heal?
You know, I would love to say that I came up with this great plan and it all fell into place and everything, but that would not be the truth. Reality was I had I had patients, I had people I needed to take care of. I had people that depended on me, and I think we were raised in a time where other people were more important than me. It was not
Mhm.
uncommon, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
I wanted to do this and I wanted to do that and I wanted to, conquer the world. And then I had kids. I'm like, well, I'll do all that as soon as I'm done raising these kids, because raising these kids is more important than what I want or whatever. And it's the same thing. I did want it, but I had all these other dreams, right? So I just decided that this is going to be more important than me, my selfishness, right? And so when I don't know about everybody, write that down. Stu doesn't know about everybody. That might save your life one day. That and $3 will get you a cup of coffee. But I got to tell you, for me, it was selfish. I was curled up on a floor in the fetal position in pain. And yeah, had life happen to me. Yep, it had life happen. It had. Was it the worst thing that's ever happened to anybody? Nope, not by a long shot. Right? Life is tough sometimes, right? And so it was easy to be in the fetal position on the floor when I'm focused on myself. What changed for
Mm.
me was when Dennis said, "Hey, I gotta go, man. I'll be back in a day, but I gotta go. You got to get up because there's people out here that need you." And I got up, and that's what it was. I just decided that me and my little deal that I was going through that was super painful and super hard and everything, it just wasn't going to define me, and there was other people that depended on me. And really, stop being selfish is what it came down to. I was thinking about myself, focusing on myself, finding myself on the floor. Focus on other people, helping other people. I was up and moving around and I
Yeah.
was up and moving around. You change your physiology, you'll change your psychology. And then
Yeah.
it kind of gave me the glimmer of hope that I don't have to stay there.
Yeah.
So I was there.
Yeah, that's really important. It's kind of, yeah, just getting that, as one of my friends said, and I'm sure I've said it on this podcast before, she likes the word reperspectivize.
Yes.
So it's just looking at your situation from an outside perspective, right? Like, because when you're in it and you're all in it, you're like, that's it. There's nothing I can do
Yeah.
about it. This
Yeah.
sucks. And you just stay there. But when you start looking at it from that outside perspective and realize there's more people in this world than just me, it
Yeah.
motivates you to do something a little bit more. And for me,
Yeah.
when I was curled up in the fetal position, in despair on my bed, not on the floor, but it was
I
the
should
same
have
thing.
chosen
I
one.
was like, I've got two kids, well, teenagers at the time, but I have two teenagers and I can't, no matter how much I think I want to leave, no matter how much I think that things are never going to get better,
Right.
part of me knew that's just my brain telling me a story and that
Mm-hmm.
I can make things better,
Yeah.
but I have to take those actions in order to change the things. But I
Nailed
wanted to do that because I had these kids to take care of,
it. Right.
So
Yeah.
it's changing the perspective, and it's not always easy, but it's just those little, the thought, what was it? Thoughts, beliefs to actions, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. And Janet, that was, I want to say, oh, I'm sorry you went through that, but really I'm not, because look what it accomplished, right? Look at the outcome. But also in reality, don't be too hard on yourself, because your brain is selfish. It's built that way. Last night you went to bed, you fell asleep. Not once did you wake up going, "Is my heart beating?" Right? You have this autonomic nervous system. It Your brain takes care of you first. There's a fire, run, grab the kids. Okay, well, if we can get them, grab the kids. But your brain's going to say you got to fight your brain to go back and get the kids, right? It's fight or flight. That's automatic in you. You don't think about the tear duct producing so you can wake up, and you can still see, and your digestive tract, and the millions and millions of things that the 84, 87 billion neurons that go into quadrillions of different synaptic responses and electrochemical changes, and just the amazing potential in the neuron, and how that how that works neurobiologically. It's mind blowing. I mean, it's just so huge. But your brain takes care of you first.
Mm-hmm.
So we're naturally selfish, because can you imagine walking down the street going, "Man, I forgot to have my heart beat," but now you're unconscious, so you're not going to do it. So now, boop, that was the end of it, right? So
Right.
that was my last thought: is, doggone it, I forgot to make my heart.
To breathe.
You wouldn't go anywhere, right? You'd have to sit in a chair and think about your heart beating every second. So thank God we're kind of built selfishly that way, to take care of ourselves. And so it's natural, it's natural when you're in a bad state to focus on yourself and stuff. But what tends to break that state, just like in your case, is not focusing on yourself. That's for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today and sharing all of your insight and expertise with us. It's definitely given me lots to think about, which I guess goes along with neuroplasticity and continuing to learn, right?
There you go.
Gotta
Nailed it.
keep learning. My friend's father says it's always a good day when you learn something new.
Isn't that the truth? Yeah. Yeah. We've
So,
changed that around in the talks and stuff that I give. Is everyone says, "Oh, lifelong learner. I want to be a lifelong learner." In reality, you want to be a long life learner, right? You want to live a
yes.
long time and learn all the way through it. And so
Yeah.
it's kind of same kind of thing. I think every day is a good day when you learn something, and be a lifelong learner, be a long life learner. Yeah.
Yes.
And so I'm with you. That's how we grow.
Absolutely.
And be happy. That's a change I made recently. I said, I'm thinking all the time. You write books and you give talks and stuff, and you're just kind of thinking about stuff and how could I influence or how could I help or what have you. And I was just thinking, I really love to laugh. And as a matter of fact, when I learned the most in life, when I think back on it, it was like during a game. Like I
Mhm.
learn well if you can make it a game to learn,
Yep.
and I
Yep.
enjoy learning and that kind of stuff when I'm laughing. And I
Yes.
decided, you're not super serious. I mean, I'm just Stu on the beach right here. It's just, life's, it's nothing's too tragic or huge going on around me or anything like that. But I'm gonna laugh more. Yeah, I do. I get on people's nerves. I laugh so much, but you know what? I have a happy life because laughing is a physical thing and it connects to my brain and it's sends out dopamine and all this good stuff. Or I get some dopamine over here, man. I got some good
Mhm.
dopamine for you and just peak. And I tell you, life is good when you're laughing. And that was just a decision I made. I'm going to
It
laugh
is
more. And now
one
it's
of
like momentarily, moment to moment, I find something to snicker at or giggle to or just
yep.
laugh.
One of the things that I do when I'm, feeling grumpy or sad or depressed and I just want to, a little pick me up is I go onto YouTube and I watch videos of babies laughing
Right. Aren't they
because
great?
that is just unadulterated joy. And then it makes me happy. It makes me laugh because they're so freaking cute and they sound
That's so fun.
adorable. Yeah. It's just laughter. You hear somebody else laughing and it just makes you happy. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyways, thank you again for being here. I appreciate you and your time and your wisdom. So, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for listening. Remember that you are loved, you are worthy, you are valuable, you are meant for more, and that it really does get better. If you are in crisis, there are numbers that you can call or text to get the help that you need. That information for Canada and the US is in the description below each episode. If you are in immediate crisis, please call 911. We love you, and I hope you'll listen again.